Hello again, everyone. It's Todd Staruch, the Horror Nerd, here at New Jersey HorrorCon and Film Festival at the Showboat in Atlantic City, New Jersey. It's Saturday, the heart of the convention. It is very busy. I'm sure you can hear from the background noise. I am having a blast, and it is about to get even better. I don't often have true fanboy moments, but I am having one legit right now because I am sitting with a piece of my childhood.
I thought you were going to say a piece of shit. Well, now you're describing me. Now
I guess we'll find out, right? Atreyu himself, Noah Hathaway. Noah, how are you, man?
Hello, I'm alive. I'm good. Thank you.
Hey, that's a good start.
Better than a lot of people recently, though.
Fair enough.
Excuse me.
So, I have been waiting my whole life to ask you this question.
Uh-oh.
How does it make you feel to have legitimately traumatized an entire generation with one scene from a movie? And you know what I'm talking about.
I think it's fucking funny. I think it's hilarious. So there's a bittersweet thing with the Neverending Story. Is we just had such it was such a hard shoot. I mean, we took over a year to make, and I got hurt bad. Like, you know, I jest and say, oh, they tried to kill me every week, but legitimately it seemed like they were always trying to kill me. Yeah, so you know, I do what I do now, and I enjoy it because of the people, because of the fans. Not really necessarily the movie itself, but what it represents to people. Because I mean, I've never seen a movie that touches people more ever. And you know, I've been around. I got my SAG card in '74.
Wow.
So I've been in the business and working in Hollywood, in and around it for a long time. I've never seen a movie like where people legit come up and start crying, and you know, it changed my life, and it taught me how to, you know, be confident and dream big, and because of that, I still have a lot to do with it. It's just a special movie.
It is.
It really is.
It is for a lot of us.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned getting hurt a lot. Now, you did most of your own stunts for the movie, and you were just a child actor. How old again were you at the time?
Well, it was a 2-year span, so I auditioned for a year. So it was between 11 and 13. Okay. They had another director that slotted before Wolfgang was even, I guess, considered. And they did a worldwide search, and I auditioned for like 6 months, and then I got it. Celebrate, and then they fired him, and they replaced him with Wolfgang, and they started all over again. So there goes the whole process again. So I did another 6 months of auditioning, and then I got it again. Which is a lot of you know how like you're that big quiz the next day, you know, when you're like anxious and it's kind of looming, and maybe you studied enough, maybe you didn't. It was like that every day for a year, because you're waiting to hear if you get a call back, if you go to the director, if you get it. So being on edge like that for a year sucked.
Right. Yeah, I can imagine.
Just unnerving and just stressful especially for like an 11-year-old kid. So then we relocated to Germany for a year and filmed in Bavaria Studios for a whole year. So yeah, it was a good 2 years is a chunk of time for a lot for one movie. They do like 10 now in that time.
Right,
you know
they churn them out.
Yeah, they just churn out the same geriatric dog shit. It's terrible.
Yeah, I know this is cliche, but they really don't make them like this anymore. They really don't.
Well, no,
you know?
I mean, first of all, they couldn't afford to. That would probably cost them $1 billion to do. It was something like 30 or 40 in '83. Which is unheard of for, you know, a company like that back then, to spend $30-40 million on a movie. You couldn't do it nowadays. The child labor laws wouldn't let you do it, first of all, you know. And then secondly, I mean, just the Swamps of Sadness was just so mind-blowing what they did. So it had to have been 3 football fields. It was the biggest soundstage in the world at the time.
Wow.
Mud 6 foot deep from one end to the other. I mean, they legit made the Swamps of Sadness, so you could not be transported there. You know what I mean?
Right.
You'd have to be a really shit actor to not, you know, not pretend like that, not be real. Yeah, it was mind blowing. So Yeah, but I got beat to shit.
Yeah, you're right when you say about the child labor laws, and when I read that you had done most of your own stunts, I couldn't, I almost couldn't believe it.
That's why.
But yeah.
What happened to me with the movie is a part of what pushed the child labor law through, because they did a bunch of shady stuff, and I had nothing to do with the movie. They didn't finish. They didn't pay me. You know what I mean? Like a whole. You hear it all the time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
So.
So I don't want to dwell on the scene because it'll bring back painful memories. But how was it? Like, were you experienced working with horses, or did it? Like, how was it working just with an animal?
Well, my first animal working with it was on Battlestar. I walked onto the set, and Boone, who was the trainer, goes, "Here's your chimp," and gave me some diapers and some food, and then split. and it was like it was my chimp for the run of the show. And her birthday was one day after mine, so we had cakes and stuff and celebrated our birthday together. She was rad. The horse was amazing too. They really worked hard for like closely to a year to get her, comfortable enough to sink and all of that. But it was the same guys who did the wrangling for the Black Stallion.
Okay.
Which was a white horse.
Go figure.
Yeah, every day they spray paint that bad boy black every day.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Learn something here every day, folks. Yeah. So, Noah, what?
The rock biter's a cannibal.
Stop it! Like, why?
I blew his mind.
I'm ruined now. Like, I never thought about that. Wow.
Wife's a sharp cookie here.
Yeah. Like, oh my God,
sharp crayon.
Right. So, look, there are a lot of. Obviously, you hear a lot of stories about pitfalls of being a child actor.
Oh, right? Yeah.
So,
seen them.
Right. I hope this is okay that I asked that.
Talk about anything, bro.
Did you come out of it okay? Like, did you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, I guess good or bad is kind of like, I guess, who's in it at the time. I didn't have to go to jail. I didn't have to go to rehabs. I didn't have to do all that bullshit because I had friends that did all of that for me. I had actor friends that OD'd and did all that bullshit. And I think I don't have the answers to much, but I think you have to not want to be a piece of shit. Innately, like, you're going down a path. Okay, cool. Well, let me get off this ride because I'm not a fucking piece of shit. Excuse my language, but
it's all good.
I cuss. And I think people get lost and they forget that and they buy into the bullshit and all the stuff that goes on. And it's, Hollywood's a toxic place. And there's no smoke and mirrors about it. You're going to have to navigate certain stuff, period. And hopefully that you're mature enough and secure enough in yourself to stay yourself.
That's good advice, man.
Or you end up like, there's a litany. The list is longer than than absolutely longer than the successes.
Yeah.
Success is like nothing. People that made it through unscathed or fairly unscathed are far and few between.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So what are you up to these days? What are you working on today? What are you doing?
I write now mostly. When I moved to Vegas, like a couple months, like 4 months into the pandemic, LA was kind of hairy, and there was shooting and stuff going around my house. So I got out of Dodge with my dogs. I packed them up, and we went to Vegas, and I just started really writing. Like I had dabbled a little bit before, but since nobody was doing anything, I just stayed home and wrote, and I got like 13 titles that in one various stage or another, a bunch of TV shows, a bunch of films that are all pretty viable, and we're gonna start chipping away at them. Cool. So we're gonna start making some of them. Looks like we're gonna start off with two, and I'm gonna direct one. Nice. And we'll see We'll see where it goes. Yeah, I wrote them. I'm going to direct one, and if I don't fuck it up too bad, maybe a second one. You know what I mean? So I say I'm either going to pull it off or I'm going to crash and burn magnificently and very theatrically.
If you're going to blow up big, you know? That's, right?
You have to when you're my size. Fuck.
All right, so one last question, Noah, so I can let you get back to your fans and such. And I always like to ask this one. If you could give one piece of advice to a young, up-and-coming actor, what would it be?
Do another job. No, I mean, wait till you're 18. Dude, be a kid. You only get to be a kid once. And I got friends that I hadn't seen in 20 years that I grew up with. It just happened actually fairly recently, and he showed up at a convention, and he was like, "Oh, I heard you were going to be here. I was down the street." And that was one of the first things he says was, "Dude, it was sucked, like, to see you not be able to go anywhere or do anything because you were either working, you were always doing something, auditioning, working, whatever." He goes, "Man, you never got a chance. You missed all your childhood." Yeah, in a lot of ways I did. In a lot of ways, I get to experience things most people never will. But I was always like, when I was on Battlestar, my nickname was the 40-year-old midget. So when I'd come on set, you would hear, "Oh, stop the cussing." They'd have a mic, 40-year-old midgets on deck, 40-year-old midgets on. And I had already been working 5 years or 4 years when I did Battlestar. So I was kind of like, a little professional, which you have to be.
Sure.
You can't be a kid and screw takes up, or you won't work. So I think that led to me not really caring all that much, but that would be my advice is, when you're 18 and you've lived a little bit of your childhood and you've had some fun, and then do what you want.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Noah, thank you so much for a few minutes of your time.
Oh, my pleasure.
I truly appreciate
my pleasure.
it.
Anytime.
I wish you success with those upcoming projects.
See?
We'll follow you along and
I'm
see what
shitting
happens.
on myself.
All right. And I hope you have a great rest of the weekend here.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Noah Hathaway here at New Jersey HorrorCon and Film Festival in Atlantic City, New Jersey. I am Todd Staruch, the Horror Nerd, signing off. We will see all of you in the next interview.